did California get so much homelessness?
I mean, because of our own policies and neglect. We put up our feet and we rested on our laurels.
Good evening, America. Welcome back to Harlan Reports. I'm your host, Harlan Crowder. Before we get to the most heartbreaking story I have ever had to tell you, I need a favor. I need you to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and share this video with everyone you know. Why? Because the truth is fighting for its life tonight, and the mainstream media won't tell you what I'm about to say. You are the army of truth, and we need to spread this message to every corner of our great country. This isn't just news, it is a battle for the soul of our nation.
Yeah, so this came from the nonpartisan state auditor, which essentially christened California the fraud capital of the United States. With the number of agencies classified as high risk, meaning there's rampant fraud, abuse, mismanagement, it has doubled during Gavin Newsom's tenure from 4 agencies to 8 agencies. So we're talking about all kinds of fraud when it comes to Medicaid, when it comes to SNAP benefits, when it comes to uninsurance benefits. And all of this, by the way, comes on top of the incredible fraud and waste and mismanagement that we already knew about. The high-speed train where there's been no track laid in 17 years, spending $18 billion, the $32 billion during COVID at a minimum of unemployment insurance fraud, the $650 million on a canceled 911 next generation system that was canceled because the technology wasn't there. And so California is absolutely, under this governor, the fraud capital of the United States. And this is exactly the model that Governor Newsom wants to take to the rest of the country.
Well, you got the governor's attention because he responded to you saying, quote, "Kylie is wrong. The auditor's high-risk list does not allege wrongdoing or billions in currency lost. It is a management tool used to target complex programs for heightened oversight and corrective action. Representative Kylie's claims are flat out false and misrepresent both the state auditor's report and the facts." Quick, your reaction to this?
I'd invite anyone to read the audit. And by the way, there have been other audits, like the one that found that $24 billion was spent on homelessness and they lost track of the money.
Yeah, and you can look at the bottom line there in the state of California. They're billions of dollars in debt. Congressman Kylie, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the...
Folks, I have been sitting in this chair, looking into this camera for 10 long years. I have covered storms, elections, and scandals. But tonight, my hands are shaking. My heart is breaking into a million pieces. Just minutes ago, right here on January 3rd, 2026, a dark cloud settled over the beautiful state of California. Governor Gavin Newsom did something so cruel, so unthinkable, it makes me want to cry right here on live TV. He vetoed the Homelessness Accountability Bill. He killed the bill that was supposed to shine a light in the darkness. Now, he wants you to believe he did it for privacy. He wants you to think he is protecting people. But I have to look you in the eye and tell you the painful truth. That is a lie. A wicked, terrible lie. The real reason he killed this bill is because $24 billion, that is $24 billion of your hard-earned money, has vanished. Gone. Poof. Just like smoke in the wind. That is enough money to build a warm, safe home for every single person sleeping on the cold concrete tonight. But instead of helping them, that money is missing. I am holding back tears because I know what this means. It means he didn't lose the money by mistake. No, it's much worse. He hid it. He funneled it to his rich friends who run fancy groups called NGOs. They took the money meant for the poor and put it in their own pockets. If Newsom had signed this bill, everyone would have seen the crime. He would have been caught. So, to save himself, he let the people suffer. He chose to cover up the crime of the century rather than face the music. Think about our president, Donald Trump. He is in the White House right now, working tirelessly for us. Can you imagine him letting this happen? Never. President Trump loves this country too much. He builds things. He doesn't steal. He fights for the forgotten man and woman. Seeing this happen in California just proves how much we need his strength, his honesty, and his love. We are watching a tragedy unfold live, and the sadness is overwhelming. But stay with me, because we are just getting started, and the truth is about to get even louder.
California Congressman Kevin Kiley, he is sounding the alarm in his home state, saying under Governor Gavin Newsom's leadership, it has become the, quote, fraud capital of America.
And we have team coverage. Our national correspondent Alana Austin is on Capitol Hill with more on the investigations into Tim Walz. But we start with correspondent Heather Myers, who has more on what is going on in California. A rainy day out there on the West Coast. Heather, what can you tell us?
Well, good afternoon to you, Katrina and Andrew. This latest report was issued by the state auditor, and that's a nonpartisan position. That state auditor now puts 8 state agencies on the high-risk list of agencies to watch out for things like fraud and mismanagement as well as waste. Here's a look at that 92-page report. Newly added to the high-risk list is California's food stamp program. If the state doesn't get the improper payments under control, it could cost an extra $2.5 billion. Also on there is the Department of Finance, which was tasked with giving out COVID relief funds. Critics say $32 billion of that was taken by fraudsters. Then there are infrastructure issues like California's deteriorating dams and also the high-speed train that's already cost taxpayers $18 billion without a single section of track complete. Other reports cite $24 billion spent on the homeless issue that critics claim the state lost track of. More recently, there's a report that says California cell phone users paid a surcharge for years to upgrade the state's 911 system. Here's Congressman Kevin Kiley talking about what happened to that plan.
That after spending $650 million on that system, the state is totally scrapping it and starting over, completely wasted the money because the technology doesn't work. Mind you, we are very close to Silicon Valley in Sacramento, and yet the government can't figure out how to make basic technology perform.
Folks, you might be sitting there asking, Harlan, how does $24 billion just disappear? It's a question that makes my stomach turn. I wish I could tell you it was a mistake. I wish I could tell you it fell through a hole in a pocket. But the truth is much uglier. It wasn't lost. It was taken. It was handed over purposefully to the governor's friends. Let me explain this, so even a child can understand the cruelty of it. Imagine if you gave your neighbor money to buy food for a hungry family down the street. You trust him, but instead of buying groceries, he gives that money to his best buddies to throw parties and buy fancy cars. The hungry family gets nothing. That is exactly what happened here. Newsom took your tax dollars and gave them to these groups called NGOs. They have fancy names that sound helpful, but really, they are just clubs for his political allies. They took the cash, they paid themselves giant salaries, and they didn't build a single shelter. It makes me weep to think about it. I am thinking of the veterans I've met who fought for our flag, shivering and tense tonight because that money, their money, is sitting in a bank account of some bureaucrat who has never missed a meal in his life. These non-profits profited big time, while the people they were supposed to help were left to rot. And when the bill came up to check the receipts to see where the money went, Newsom said no. He slammed the door shut. He locked the safe because he knows what we would find inside. Nothing but greed. This is why President Trump is so important to us right now. He is a businessman. He knows that when you pay for something, you expect to see it. If Donald Trump paid a contractor to build a tower, and the guy showed up with no bricks and no steel, Trump would fire him on the spot. You're fired. We all know the line. He demands results. He respects the value of a dollar because he knows how hard you worked for it. Newsom thinks your money is his toy to play with. Trump knows your money is your life's work. The difference between them is like night and day. One hides in the shadows with his rich friends. The other stands in the light with the American worker. And as I look at the reports coming in, the scale of this theft is starting to hurt even more. Now, folks, you might be asking me through the screen, Harlan, why are you tying this mess in California to our incredible President Donald Trump? It is a fair question, but the answer is what brings tears to my eyes. This disaster in California shines a bright, blinding light on exactly why President Trump's America First agenda is the beacon of hope that every single one of us needs right now. It is the lighthouse in the storm. Think about it for a second. While Governor Newsom is playing a sick game of hide and seek with billions of dollars, President Trump has always been about one thing: transparency, making sure every single dollar works for you, the American people. Do you remember back in his first term? Oh, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember how he slashed that wasteful spending. I remember how he stood tall and put America back on top. He built that beautiful wall to protect our borders and our families. He created millions of jobs so fathers could look their children in the eye and say, I can take care of you. He stood up to those swamp creatures who love dipping their hands into our pockets. In my 10 years covering news, I have seen presidents come and go. I have seen them smile for the cameras and then forget us the moment the lights go out. But Trump, he is different. He is the bold leader who says what he means and does what he says. No games, no cover-ups. Just strength. And seeing this veto today, this cowardly act by Newsom, is a stark, painful reminder of what happens when we don't have Trump's kind of strength at the helm. Money disappears. Problems get worse. And everyday folks, people just like you and me, are the ones left to pay the price. It hurts my heart. It really does, to think that while President Trump is fighting to clean up the country, there are still politicians working so hard to dirty it up again. This isn't just about politics. It is about right and wrong. It is about light versus darkness. And seeing the darkness try to win in California today makes me want to weep for our nation. But it also makes me hold on to President Trump's vision even tighter, like a lifeline in a rough sea, because without him, who would fight for us? Who would stop the theft? The silence from the other side is deafening. The roar of the truth, Trump's truth, is getting louder by the second. Let me paint a picture for you, folks, because sometimes numbers like billions are just too big to feel. Let's talk about real life. Immediate, painful, real life. I want you to picture a mom in Los Angeles named Maria. Maria is a warrior. She works 2 jobs, one at a diner serving coffee before the sun comes up, and another at a grocery store until her feet are numb, just to keep the lights on for her 2 little ones. Her neighborhood? It's a nightmare. It is overrun with tents, trash, and danger because that $24 billion was supposed to clean it up. It was supposed to build safe shelters. It was supposed to get people help, but instead, that money is gone. It went to who knows where. Probably some fancy dinner party for the governor's friends. Now, Maria is scared to let her kids play outside. She called her sister today, sobbing, tears streaming down her face, and said, "Harlan, I'm afraid, how much longer do we have to live like this?" She saw the news about the veto on her phone during her break, and her heart just shattered. She feels forgotten by her own state. But here's the good part. The part that makes me wipe my own eyes and stand a little taller. Maria is not alone. Across this great country, patriots are rallying. I just got a call from a viewer in Texas, a truck driver named Joe. Joe is out there hauling goods across our free highways. Highways built strong again, thanks to President Trump's infrastructure wins. Joe's voice was shaking with emotion, but he was firm. He said, "Harlan, this veto proves Trump was right all along. We have to drain the swamp." Maria's pain is my pain, and I am inspired to vote even harder for America first. You see, they want to divide us, but the truth unites us. Joe in his truck is fighting for Maria in her apartment. That is the American spirit. That is what President Trump has awakened in all of us. While Newsom's cruelty makes us cry, Trump's strength gives us the courage to dry those tears and fight back. We are seeing a movement rise up, fueled by love for our neighbors and a demand for justice. And let me tell you, when the American people get moving, nothing can stop them. And speaking of inspiration, let's take a deep breath and look at the history books, because that is where we find the proof that victory is possible. I want you to cast your minds back to 2016. I remember it like it was yesterday. The establishment, the media, the career politicians, they all laughed. They said, "America First" was just a slogan. But to Donald Trump, it wasn't a slogan, it was a sacred promise. And what did he do? He didn't just talk, he delivered. He looked the American people in the eye and said, "I will fight for you." And he did. He brought our factories home. He made us energy independent so we didn't have to beg foreign countries for oil. He secured our borders when everyone else said it was impossible. And maybe most importantly, he brought us peace. Remember, peace through strength. No new endless wars, just a strong America that the world respected. I get emotional just thinking about how safe we felt, how proud we were to see our flag flying high without apology. Fast forward to right now, January 3rd, 2026. President Trump is back in the White House, stronger than ever after that landslide win last year. And thank God he is already cracking down on wasteful spending nationwide. He is auditing the books, scrubbing the floors of the federal government, and hunting down every wasted dollar just like this disaster in California. He is finding the rot and cutting it out one. This Newsom veto, it is the perfect example of the failure he is fighting against. It is the darkness trying to hide from the light, while Newsom covers up crimes and protects his buddies. Trump is exposing them. In my decade in news, I have covered scandals from Watergate echoes to modern messes, but nothing compares to the way Trump's honesty cuts through the noise. He is like that tough high school football coach who takes a losing team, a team everyone gave up on, and turns them into state champions. He is bold, he is unapologetic, and he demands excellence because he knows we deserve it. He doesn't let the team slack off, and he certainly doesn't let them steal from the equipment fund. It makes me weep with gratitude to know we have a coach like that. Again, we were losing, folks. We were losing big, but now we are starting to win again. Folks, I wish you could see what I am seeing right now. The reactions are coming in so fast. It is like a tidal wave of truth crashing over the country. Just minutes ago on X, you know, the platform where free speech finally lives, Trump supporters are lighting it up. They are angry, yes, but more than that, they are awake. I'm reading a post right here from a farmer in Ohio. He writes, Newsom's veto is theft from the homeless. Thank God for Trump, who is rebuilding America one truth at a time. Can you feel the passion in that? This isn't just a farmer. This is a man who knows the value of hard work. He knows that when you plant a seed, you expect a harvest, not for someone to come in the night and steal your crops. And then there is this one from a teacher in Florida. She says, as an educator, I see kids affected by this chaos every day. Trump's leadership gives me hope. He is the visionary who puts families first. These aren't politicians. These are everyday heroes. These are the people who make this country run. They are the heartbeat of America. And do you know who they remind me of? They remind me of a veteran I interviewed back in 2020. I will never forget him. He had tears in his eyes when he told me, Harlan, Trump fights for us like no one else. That same fire is burning today. It is burning in the heart of that farmer, that teacher, and millions of others who are watching this injustice in California and saying, enough is enough. This is what the other side doesn't understand. They think they can hide the money and we won't notice. They think they can veto the truth and we will stay silent. But they forgot one thing. We have a leader now who listens. We have a president who takes those voices, the farmer, the teacher, the veteran, and amplifies them until the whole world has to listen. Newsom might have the veto pen, but Trump has the people. And let me tell you, I will take the people over a politician any day of the week. Let me share a personal reflection with you, something that has been weighing heavy on my soul tonight. Early in my career, long before I sat in this chair, I covered a story in a small town about a bridge. The government spent millions on it, promising it would help people get to work, help ambulances get to the hospital, but the money vanished. The bridge was never finished. It stood there, a bridge to nowhere. I remember watching families suffer because of that greed, while the politicians who stole the money threw parties. It broke my heart then, and this news today breaks it all over again. That deep sadness is exactly why I love President Trump. He saw that same rot, not just in a small town, but across our whole beautiful nation, and he said no more. He exposed the swamp. He put money back in your wallet with his tax cuts. He brought factories back so dads could buy Christmas presents again. He fought for us. And today, with this terrible veto hitting the airwaves, that fight is more urgent than ever. Families in California are calling their representatives right now, screaming for answers, demanding to know why they were left behind. I want to share a story that just came into our newsroom, and I have to warn you, it is hard to read without crying. It's from a young dad in San Francisco. He has been homeless himself. He lived in his car, cold and hungry, but he pulled himself up with pure grit and determination. He sent us an email just now saying, Harlan, I voted for Trump because he believes in second chances. This veto hides the help people like me desperately need. But Trump's America First means accountability for all of us, rich or poor. Hearing that, it just tears me apart. Here is a man who fought his way out of the darkness, looking for a hand up. And instead, Newsom kicked the ladder away to protect his rich friends. But notice what that dad said. He isn't giving up. He is looking to President Trump. That story builds a deep, unbreakable connection between us. It reminds us that we are all in this together, under the same stars and stripes. When one of us hurts, we all hurt. But when we have a leader who fights for the truth, we all find the strength to stand up and say, we will not be forgotten. Why is this moment, this heartbreaking moment in California, actually a massive win for our entire country? I'll tell you why, and it's something that makes me smile through the tears. It is because this disaster spotlights the absolute genius of Donald Trump. You see, while other politicians like Newsom try to hide in the shadows, scuttling around like cockroaches when the kitchen light turns on, President Trump is the light. He shines that big, beautiful spotlight right on the problem. His bold leadership means we don't just accept failure anymore. It means secure borders, a roaring economy, and real help for the hurting, not fake help that lines the pockets of the rich. Imagine for a second, just close your eyes and imagine what that $24 billion could have done under Trump's watch. It wouldn't have vanished. It would have built thousands of warm homes. It would have trained workers for high-paying jobs. It would have lifted people up out of the dirt and given them their dignity back. That is what America First looks like in action. Hard work, honesty, freedom. And people are seeing it. As this news breaks across the nation, I'm seeing reports of supporters gathering online and, even in town halls, spontaneously chanting USA, USA. It is electric, it is urgent, it is happening right now. They aren't chanting because they are happy about the theft. They are chanting because they finally have a champion who calls it what it is. They see the contrast between the failure of the swamp and the success of the MAGA movement, and it fills them with a patriotic fire that cannot be put out. This is the turning point, folks. This is the moment where the curtain is pulled back and the wizard is shown to be a fraud. But unlike the movies, we don't have to be afraid, because we have a real leader ready to step in. We have a president who treats our tax dollars like sacred trust, not a slush fund. And that realization, that we are safe with Trump at the wheel, is the greatest win of all. It gives us hope that tomorrow will be better than today. We are coming to the end of our time tonight, and I have to be honest with you. When I sat down in this chair an hour ago, I was angry, I was hurting, hearing about Governor Newsom hiding the truth and seeing that $24 billion vanish into thin air. It felt like a punch to the gut. But as I've been talking to you, and as I've seen your messages flooding in from every corner of this great map, my tears of sadness have turned into tears of hope. We are not a nation in decline. We are a nation that is waking up. This veto didn't bury the truth. It set the truth free. It showed us exactly who the enemies of the people are. And more importantly, it reminded us who our champion is. President Trump is back in the White House, standing guard over our treasury and our values. He is the father figure this country missed so dearly. He is making sure that the days of politicians stealing your dreams to pay their friends are over. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I really am, because I know that when the sun comes up on January 4th, we will be stronger than we were today. We are united by a love for this land and a belief in the American dream. I'm thinking of Maria in Los Angeles, Joe in Texas, and that brave young dad in San Francisco. We are all on the same team. We are the team that builds, the team that loves, and the team that prays. So dry your eyes, patriots. Do not let your heart be troubled. The money may be gone, but our spirit is untouched. In fact, it is burning brighter than ever. We have the leader we need, we have the courage we need, and we have each other. The swamp is draining, the truth is reigning, and America is winning again. As I sign off, I feel a warmth in my chest that I haven't felt in years. It's the feeling of victory. It's the feeling of home. Thank you for watching Harlan Reports. Please, I am begging you, do not let this story die here. Click that subscribe button right now. Hit the like button so the algorithm has to show this truth to the world. And share this video with your family, your friends, and your neighbors. They need to hear this. They need to know that while there are thieves in the night, there is a guardian in the White House. Together, we are unstoppable. I'll be back tomorrow with more truth. Until then, God bless you. God bless President Trump. And God bless the United States of America. Good night.